Hey guys, so this is a night video. I can't remember the last time I filmed a night video, but it's Sunday night and I'm supposed to have a video up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and I still haven't filmed one because the holidays just totally interfered. Having Hector home makes it really hard to film. I just find myself like tucking my phone away in some corner and not thinking about anything except family time. So here I am, they're occupied, I'm doing a video, and this is coming from a lot of really good conversations I've had this weekend, just chatting with friends about marriage, etc. So I'm gonna refer to a lot of my videos, other videos that I've made throughout the years where I kind of talk more in depth about some of these things, and I'll put the links in the description box below so you can check those out after this. But if you're new to my channel, my name's Alana. I love talking about marriage and homemaking and healthy living and homeschooling. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and to like this video. So my children are 9 and 8. I had them 17 months apart. It was craziness for about 18 months. Those first few years are really hard, very demanding, no sleep. My second was my bad sleeper. I literally woke up every single night for 3.5 years, like no exaggeration, both in diapers, nap times, schedules, all that stuff, and training. Two terrible twos at the same time, you know, just nuts. It was a hard season, and unbeknownst to me, my husband was under a lot of stress during that time as well. He was in a new job and trying to make ends meet to provide for us, but I was so consumed with my feelings and what I needed that I was blind to a lot of the things he was going through. And I guess we were married 4 or 5 years at that time, 5 or 6 years at that time. So I was very consumed with what I needed from him. You know, 5 o'clock, is he home? I need help with the kids. That feeling. Dinner time's always nuts when you have toddlers. I don't know why. And so I was always like desperate for help and desperate for him to be here. And if he was off of work, he needed to be here helping me. You know, just that feeling. If he had other plans when he was off of work, it was very hard for me to cheerfully see him off. It was always like, why would you make plans? Why? You have to help me. So I know that I threatened his freedom and made him feel controlled and guilty and judged, and it didn't go over very well. A lot of my videos, when I speak to wives, I get the advice that I'm giving from personal experience. Does it apply to everybody? No, maybe to some degree, maybe not at all. Take the good, leave the bad, and maybe something will help, maybe none of it does. But I can only speak from what I've experienced. Something I do know, though, generally speaking, is that no man likes to be controlled, manipulated, nagged, disrespected, or told they can't do something they want to do. They are designed by God to be the head of the home. And that's gonna look different in each home as well. About 6 years ago, some of the things that I remember personally struggling with, unbeknownst to me, Hector was struggling with a lot of stress and anxiety with work. I didn't know. So I'm over here thinking, I wish he did this, I wish he did that, he's doing that wrong, he's doing this wrong, I need him to do this, I wish he didn't do that, yada, 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 right? And so it feels, I'm sure it felt like to him every night I had something that we had to talk about. We need to talk. We need to talk. They never do that to us. Why? We are crazy. That probably drove him crazy, but you know what? I did it. Guilty, guilty, guilty. I am sure he felt like he could not do right. There was always a complaint. There was always something I needed him to do different or better or not do at all. And so I feel like I was being the foolish woman in Proverbs 14:1 that tears down her house with her own hands. I was not building up my house. I was tearing it down. And I realized I am not going to see growth and change in my husband for the better if this is the way I approach him. Something's got to change. I also was feeling very misunderstood by him and not emotionally supported. Like I could not share my heart with him without feeling like he was being insensitive. But I wasn't checking on how his heart was doing either. I was so consumed with my feelings. And I've learned from all of this, and the Lord has brought us completely out of that. Now that little rift in our marriage lasted 2-ish years, not that long. I know that some people have deeper wounds and scars than that, and some people have milder wounds and scars than that. We're all gonna have a different story, different seasons in our marriage. I hope that that's the lowest part of our marriage. I hope we never repeat or go through something that really just challenges our relationship again. But who knows what's coming in this life, you know? What I learned from that little season was a lot of the things I share with you guys. You can only be responsible for your actions, how you conduct yourself, how you behave yourself, what you do. You can't make other people act the way you think they should act. You can't say, I'll act correctly once you change. You have to, if you love the Lord and you want to live in obedience, do what you're supposed to do to honor the Lord and live in obedience. And the other person is not your responsibility. You're not the Holy Spirit. So I learned that I'm not the Holy Spirit, and I needed to take control over my actions. So I specifically decided to do 3 things consistently in my marriage, and I did not stop. I did these consistently for about 2.5-ish years, and I've been able to taper off some of them, but continue some of them as a good new habit. And I really think these things pulled us out of that season. Not just me, my behavior, but I think that what I did helped. And then alongside what I did, I know my husband's a believer, so he was going to the Lord, he was seeking to obey the Lord, and he was growing in his faith. And I'm sure that time and us living in intentional grace with one another really rescued us out of what could have been worse, I don't know, but pulled us out of that place. And now we have a very harmonious, very loving, very gracious marriage. We still make mistakes sometimes, we still argue sometimes, we still have tension sometimes, but we can resolve conflict so much faster now. And there's no grudges held, no going to bed angry, no, you know, he's a lot more sensitive to my emotions. I can talk to him and cry in front of him now and not feel like a fool. So let me tell you what I did. The first thing I decided when I knew, okay, things are going south and they're going to keep going south unless something changes, I decided that I was going to be very, very vocal about praising and encouraging my husband every single day. Anything and everything that I could acknowledge that was a good thing, that he was doing well, I would bring up. I also wanted to start sympathizing with him. I made a video kind of like about the silent competition that we have with our husbands. At least I did. You may not have struggled with that. If you didn't, I'm so proud of you. I was terrible. I had this silent competition going on in my head. I'll post a link of that video in the description box. But I needed to start sympathizing with him and realizing I'm not the only one tired here. I'm not the only one that has a hard job. I'm not the only one that works hard every single day, all day. He does too. Our jobs just look different. And so when he said he was tired, instead of my old thinking of, why? You don't even know what tired is, I started sympathizing with him. Oh, you are? Man, I'm sorry. Did you not rest enough last night? Would you like me to keep the kids a while so you can take a nap? And like genuinely, sincerely started to sympathize with him. So I did those things vocally every single day, any opportunity given to me. I also started to, and this, you may not have to do this, but I did. I had to do this. I had to stop going to him with my issues. I had to go straight to the Lord, because I started to notice that every time I went to him with my issues, we had some sort of tension or argument, and that wasn't helping anything. So I stopped going to him with everything, every complaint, every emotional need, every emotional struggle. I just started going to the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, so that he stopped hearing negative things come out of my mouth and only started to hear positive things. I started to enjoy our evenings together instead of sit him down to tell him all the things I needed him to do different and make him feel worse and more discouraged and like he wasn't living up even more to the things, to my standards, you know? So I took those things away and I went to the Lord with them. Yes, ideally, we should be able to talk to our husbands about all of those things anytime we need to. And guess what? I can now. But there was a raw wound that was not going to heal if I didn't shut up. So it was time to shut up and go to the Lord. The great thing that came out of that is I developed this wonderful habit of going to the Lord first. So now when there is something that I need to talk about or I'm feeling, I always go to the Lord first now. I don't go to him first. My default is God. And after that, if I still need to talk about it, if I want to share it with him, I do. And he listens, and he is so much more sensitive to me now than before because he's had time to heal. So that may not be your case. You may be able to talk to your husband about everything. Good. I'm so glad for you because that is ideal. But If your husband gets annoyed at you every time you want to talk, then maybe it's time to do what I did and go to God. It may change everything for you guys. And the last thing that I decided to do was my tone of voice. I had to work, and I still fall, and I still constantly am working on this. My tone of voice being gentle and sweet and tender. And I tell women this all the time. It's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. It is unnatural and weird in the beginning, but it is so attractive to your husband, and it makes things lovely and peaceful and pleasant. And the atmosphere you provide as the woman, the one who sets the tone of the home, is wonderful and desirable and inviting. You may not struggle with that. You may already have a very pleasant, gentle, sweet tone of voice. I don't. I am a Cuban, Latin, expressive, opinionated, totally aggressive woman, and I need to work very hard on sounding gentle and sweet and toned down. And so I did that, and I'm still working on that. Now, some people might hear that and think, well, why would you do that? Just be yourself. No, not if my husband feels attacked when I start talking to him. No, not if other people might have hurt feelings or be offended when I start to express myself too overwhelmingly, passionately. I have to care about other people more than about my freedom to express myself however I want. I care about how other people feel because of me. And if I am at risk of making someone feel attacked or judged or hurt feelings, or like I'm like running over them, I will change my tone of voice before I tell that person that they better just deal with it, because that's just the way I talk. That's not the love of Christ. The love of Christ is sacrifice, selflessness, grace for others, love for others. And that's one thing that I feel like the Lord has opened my eyes to help me see a way that I can truly love others better, is working on my tone of voice. So those are the things I did for about 2.5-ish years. I didn't put a timeline on it. I just did it, committed to it, and the Lord worked through it, along with whatever other work he was doing in my husband's heart, apart from what he was doing in my heart. And about 2 years of consistently doing those things, the Lord started to heal. And I started to see my husband step up to the plate more often and be more sensitive with me and be willing to listen to me and not get frustrated with my emotions and just grow as a husband. Because you know what? It's a journey to be married. We're not going to know how to be a good wife and a good husband right when we get married. We might have head knowledge, but once you're in it, you realize, oh, this is hard. And you have to learn by sanctification and by the Lord's beautiful guidance. So those are some things that the Lord used in my personal life, in my marriage, to improve my marriage, that he showed me. And I thought I would share those specifics in case it would be of help to anyone else. I have several videos that I'll post in the description box. Please check them out and like those videos as well. And I just want to encourage you to love your husbands. Remember that the Lord is sovereign. He's in control over every aspect of your life. And he said, this is your spouse. This is your husband. I have appointed him to be the head of your home, to be your husband, to be the father of your children. Love him. Accept him. I said he was up for the task. I will equip him. Just trust me. Just trust me. I will fight your battles for you. You have me every step along the way. Honor me by obeying me, by submitting to and respecting this man that I have put to be the head of your home, the representation of Christ in your home. And submit to the Lord, ladies. Submit to the Lord. Every time you don't want to submit to your husband, think, oh, if I submit to him, that means I'm submitting to the Lord. So you better do it. You better do it. And find joy in obeying God. Find joy in obeying God. When you are submitting to your husband and respecting him and following him and loving him well, you are obeying the Lord. Let that bring such joy to your life, because you love him, don't you? If you love him, you will obey him. So I hope this video is an encouragement to you. Please subscribe, please like this video, and have a wonderful day.